Es un gusto tenerla aquí con nosotros. Muchísimas gracias por haber aceptado mi invitación a impartir esta plática dentro de esta edición del Diplomado en Diseño de la Vivienda Colectiva Contemporánea. Voy a leer la breve semblanza que nos hizo el favor de compartirnos, ¿sí? Es un gusto tener aquí con nosotros esta noche la doctora Isabella Silva de Serro Azul, que tiene doctorado en Arquitectura y Urbanismo por la Universidad Presbiteriana Mackenzie, con estancia de investigación en el Collaborative Design Laboratory del Institut für Architektur de la Technische Universidad de Berlín. Es máster en Arquitectura y Urbanismo por la Universidad Presbiteriana Mackenzie, en colaboración con la École d'Architecture de la Ville et des Territoires à la Mar de la Valle. Es integrante del Grupo de Investigación Arquitectura y Construcción y del Laboratorio de Proyectos y Políticas Públicas. Muchísimas gracias, doctora, por estar aquí con nosotros y le cedo la palabra para que pueda impartir su conferencia magistral. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias. I'm sorry I don't speak Spanish, so I prepared the presentation in English. So I'll share my screen with you.
Sin ningún problema, arquitecta, puede hablar en inglés o en portugués, ¿eh?
Okay. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Professor Graziano Brau for the kind invitation. It's a pleasure to be here at this conference, sharing ideas with you. And the title of my presentation is Housing and Sustainability, the Role of Industrialized Construction in Brazil and Germany. We will explore how housing programs and construction systems interact in these two countries and how public policies can be driving force for innovation and in the construction sector. But before we begin, I will share a little bit of my background so you understand the perspective I bring to this topic. And I'm a Brazilian architect, and I have lived and worked mostly in São Paulo. And during my doctoral research, I spent a period as a research fellow in Berlin. And this experience gave me the opportunity to study both the Brazilian and the German context in depth. And that international perspective allowed me to see not only the similarities, but also the striking contrasts between these two countries. And these differences, as well as some surprising parallels, will be at the center of our discussion today. So let's begin by looking at the broader picture, that the main challenge currently faced by the civil construction sector worldwide that include excessive material waste, difficulties in adopting circular economy principles, low efficiency in construction process, high CO2 emissions and air pollution, lack of traceability and control over materials, and a significant impact on the surrounding environment. In other words, many of our processes are still slow, wasteful, and environmentally costly. But there are ways to address these issues, and one promising strategy is industrialized construction. Industrialized constructions can directly tackle many of these problems because it can reduce environmental impacts, integrate more efficiently with public policies, accelerate the delivery of housing, improve energy efficiency, enhance construction quality, and create more qualified jobs. This is not about simply building faster, but it's about building better, smarter, and more sustainably. With this in mind, let's now look more closely at the realities in Brazil and in Germany. We start with Brazil, where housing programs typically prioritize conventional construction systems with a strong focus on quantity and initial cost reduction, Although there is a potential for industrialization, for example, through a specific certification system, the lack of clear guidelines coupled with the strong influence of the private sector limit broader adoption. And the prevailing market logic aims at reducing costs and relying on low-skilled labor, reinforces artisanal construction methods. This compromises durability, efficiency, and sustainability. Given Brazil's high house deficit and pressing environmental issues, there is an urgent need to move towards more innovative and sustainable solutions. But Germany presents quite a different picture. It has a strong historical background in prefabrication with significant investments made after the Second World War. Yet, despite incentives such as a specific agreement in the country, industrialized systems are still rarely used in subsidized multi-story housing. Housing policy is regionalized, and production is often carried out by municipal companies and private developers. Geographic and cultural factors, of factories in the south, and the deep cultural appreciations of timber mean that industrialized systems are far more common in single-family homes than in large-scale housing. To analyze this context in depth, we adopt a multi-method approach. This includes a narrative literature review, parallel case studies in Brazil and Germany, in-depth interview with key stakeholders, analysis of technical documents and regulatory frameworks, and a design analysis to assess efficiency and effectiveness of the cases studied. Together, these methods allowed us to conduct a robust parallel analysis. For our case studies, we focused on subsidized housing in urban areas, multi-story buildings, industrialized approaches, and the political, social, and cultural context surrounding them. And by applying these strict criteria, we ensured that the cases selected were both representative and directly relevant to our research questions. Our first Brazilian case is a project that used prefabricated reinforced concrete elements. This system was developed internally by the company, and it offered benefits in standardizations and execution speed. However, low flexibility in design and the absence of public incentives meant that it was rarely adopted elsewhere. The second case looked at light wood framing, and its advantages include lightness, fast assembly, and reduced waste. Yet, cultural resistance to wood, logistical constraints, and lack of standardizations limited its broader adoptions. In Germany, we analyzed the subsidized multi-story housing projects that were built with light steel framing. It demonstrated excellent precision, fast construction, and strong thermal and acoustic performance. Still, high costs, logistical challenges, and regional regulations meant it remained the exception rather than the rule in the country. Our final case was built with cross-laminated timber in southern Germany. Here, cultural acceptance and local timber industries made this technique that is called CLT more common. Its benefits include sustainability, high energy efficiency, and precision. But once again, costs, transportation issues, and regulatory hurdles limited the wider use. When we compare these cases, one thing stands out. Both Brazil and Germany show low recurrence of industrialized systems in affordable multi-story housing. In Brazil, we can see progress with precast concrete and light wood framing, but cultural and cost barriers remain. Germany has a strong technological potential with light steel framing and cross-laminated timber, but these experiences are constrained by regionalization, logistics, and costs. In both countries, significant advances will require political will, economic incentives, and clear technical guidelines. To summarize, industrialized construction in affordable housing is still rare in both contexts. In Brazil, progress is slowed by private sector dominance, unclear regulations, and cost-driving policies. In Germany, regionalizations and concentration productions limit diffusion. A real transformation will require the alignment of housing policy, economic incentives, technical training, and cultural change. Based on these findings, we suggest 5 strategic actions to encourage industrialized construction. First of all, to strengthen public policies. Second, expand economic incentives. Third, develop clear technical guidelines. Fourth, train the workforce. And fifth, foster research, innovation, and international collaboration. These actions represent possible pathways for making construction more sustainable, competitive, and aligned with global challenges. With that, I'd like to conclude my presentation by acknowledging those who contributed to this research. It was made possible through the supervision of Professor Pisani and the contribution of Paul Mackenzie, Theo Berlin, CAPES, and the AAD. And I sincerely thank you for your attention. And now I look forward to your questions and to hearing your perspectives on this topic.
Thank you, Isabella, for your lecture. It's very interesting to see how policies can improve the industrial things. I have one question. What do you think between the situation in Brazil and in Germany? How the policies can resolve the deficit of housing.
The main problem, especially in Brazil, is that the policies are very focused on quantity and not in the quality of our housings. So we are building in not very smart way and not very efficient. So we have a huge problem related to the sustainability of the complexes that we are building nowadays. So very important issues that we should look forward to our public policies is to integrate not only the quantity but also the quality of our housing and taking into account all the aspects of the sustainable development. We are not looking towards all the ODS that are the objective of sustainable development that is very discussed worldwide. And in Germany, the policies they are tackling in a good way the quantity that they need for housing, but yet they are not very focused on having a industrialized construction. It's very concentrated, especially in the south of the country, because they have more historical related to industries there, especially to timber. So it's needed to have this integration between the public sector with the housing policies, and also the private sector to have more incentives to have a more sustainable construction and tackle the house deficit, especially in Brazil, that we have this problem, a very big problem between us.
Okay, thank you. In Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, the president, no, wants to build 1 million 1 million house. Okay, so I think we will have the same problem, because for to build 1 million housing, is like a quantity in no quality housing. Okay, because it is very large number. No, we have other questions. Bueno, plantearla. We have another question.
Hi. First of all, thank you a lot for this conversation. I think it's really interesting to start talking about not only the cases we have here in Latin America, but also in Europe, and like perhaps not compare them, but to analyze both of them and both of those cases. In my case, I would like to ask, in one point of your presentation, specifically when it comes to Germany's situation, you talked about how they do have perhaps more technology, but they don't use it because it becomes kind of a logistical and monetary problem. So my question would be like, if you feel there's no interest in the German government, like to look for new options to use this technology and to use the money they do have to create more housing with this kind of construction. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yeah, for when I studied the German policies, how they are looking to these questions, I could see that they have more interest in invest their money to use these technologies. So when I showed that there was an agreement in Germany for it, it was an agreement that made combined with architecture studios with some industries to have like different options to different kind of materials and how they can build it around the country. But the problem that I talked about, the logistics, is how expensive it is to move these elements, like the wall and the stairs, that all the modules that they are building in the industries, to take them to the site where they are going to build it. But I feel that in Germany they have more integrated policies, not only for in the architecture level, but also the urban level. So they are more articulated, all of them, and they are looking to it. It is yet not the one that they are using the most. When I started this research, I thought that when I was looking to German context, it would be the case where they were using industrialized constructions more than other types of constructions. It was a surprise for me when I was doing the research that it was not the mostly used way that they were building there. But I see that the government is looking for it, and they are more worried to use it than it is going here in Brazil right now. They have more incentives for it, but unfortunately, yeah, it's not the one that's most used. But the government is looking for it and trying to use the money to make it happen more efficient ways.
Thank you very much. I would now pass the microphone to another one of my
Okay.
classmates. Ah, it was the same question. Is there anybody else that wants to ask a question? Perhaps Leonardo or Roberto, do you have any questions?
No, gracias.
Not really, thanks.
So thank you very much, Isabella. Okay, the presentation was very clear, your exposition. So thank you very much for your lecture, Isabella.
Thank you. Thank you. It was very nice to share ideas with you. And if you want to keep in contact, it will be a pleasure to keep in contact with you. Thank you.
Gracias. Good night.
Good night.
Bye bye.
Bye.